Randy is an example of a person who has been favored by God. He's got a great testimony for you, and I know you're going to be blessed by it. But what I just read you is what Randy has done. He's pressed into the Lord. He's dependent on the Lord. He said, Lord, everything is for you. Now, you got a bio, and I have an update. Randy was just recently promoted to vice president of the sales and marketing for Fontaine Trailer, a Marmon Highway technology and Berkshire Hathaway company. Randy Williams has been in the transportation equipment business for 33 years, and he has served in various capacities, including sales, training, management, and ownership. During his 30-year tenure at a large international trailer manufacturer, he twice earned the coveted award of the National Salesman of the Year, and after 8 consecutive placements in the Elite Sales Kingpin Club. He was bestowed a lifetime membership, and he also served as training director, where he developed a curriculum and taught sales development skills to their North American sales force. He's traveled to the Ukraine and traveled to Israel over 20 times. In association with the House of David Ministries, which is located near Fairland, Oklahoma. Speaking at business seminars, administering humanitarian aid. He was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Randy and his wife, Mary, own and operate a ranch in Fairland, Oklahoma, where they raise purebred Hereford cattle. They have 4 children and 6 grandchildren. I'd like to introduce you to a true man of God who has a word. If you will internalize this, let it go into your heart, not just your mind. You can be blessed by the Lord for this year because of your business. Your business will increase if you increase in the Lord.
Amen.
Randy?
Well, that's a lot to follow, guys. I'm in a room of esteemed colleagues, and I want to tell you, first of all, thank you for having me here. I do have a word for you today. I'll do a little intro first about myself, tell you a little bit about who I am, what I've done. Born here in beautiful Tulsa, Oklahoma, in Hillcrest Hospital. As I was sharing with Ted earlier, I've lived in Oklahoma almost my entire life. I am a hardcore Okie. I understand it, and it's what I am, and I'm proud of it. Mary and I live on a ranch now up by Grove in a little town called Fairland. We have a operating cattle herd there where we manage about 100 mama cows, and our business is raising bulls. And that's one of our businesses. We have several, but Mary calls it my hobby, but she's not out there every day wrestling those things. It's work. But anyway, I'm still active in the business world. I've been in the sales business for about 34 years. Started when I was 26 in 1983. And I was looking for a job. I just sold a poultry farm in Arkansas, so I guess that makes me a retired poultry farmer. And I looked for a job. I went and didn't care what it was, knocked on a door. They were hiring me. They were paying $2.95 an hour. And I thought, well, I'll do this for a little while until I find something better. Well, here I am today. I'm still in the business. But here was the most fascinating thing to me about that opportunity. And the Lord does give us opportunities, and that's what I'm here to share about with you today. My thought was, I'll do this until He gives me something better to do.
Amen.
But then I found out they didn't have to work Saturday and Sunday. And then I found out you didn't have to come to work till 7 o'clock. And you got to go home at 3:30 or 4. Well, I thought I had hit a home run because I'd never had a job like that. But it was that mindset that where we started, where the Lord had put me initially, and gives us the will and the drive to move forward. We don't start at 7 and we don't quit at 3:30. We don't work 5 days a week. When you're doing the Lord's work, it's nonstop. There's never not a time to be doing it. And so today, I've got some words here I want to share with you. I am a member of the House of David. I'm a pastor there. We are a one new man congregation in Northeast Oklahoma. We work extensively in Israel, and we were working extensively in the Ukraine. We work in South America. We have multiple ministries there. We, like Ted's heart, we take care of children in Israel. In fact, Rabbi told me last night and told the congregation that we now have 14,000 children in our care in Israel. And so we have a very active heart for that very thing, is those in need and how to help. And our alignment is, and that's what I'm going to speak mostly about today, is alignment. Because, and to Ted's heart, a tire man understands alignment. And I can't wait to talk about this. Yes?
Can you just take the microphone
I can.
and move it over towards?
All right, how's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So anyway, I'll get to the alignment part, Ted, for your benefit. I threw this in there because I thought I'm going to have a tire man in the room. There's nothing I like better than alignment issues. And so anyway, I've gone through all these things to say this. I'll tell you a lot more about myself, but it's really of no value. The value is in what the Lord says. The value is in what's going on. The value is it a now word for you now that you can put into place to change the earth for the kingdom of God. That's the most important thing we can do. And so I started this and I wound up in the same place. But for you guys that are still actively engaged in the marketplace, whether you're a banker, I'm married to a banker, and she's better looking than you are, I have to tell you. But no disrespect, because she is. But anyway, the thing we have to learn is, in the marketplace, and the thing that I have had to learn is, it is a non-stop evolution. This ball of the market is a non-stop change. It changes from day to day. And so many of us get in the mindset that we know it all, we figured it out, and therefore we can just keep doing what we're doing every day and it'll just get better. It's not the case. Now Ted probably can tell you, having a few tire stores, that things change. So as I started this, to get ready for this, I went to the 22nd book of Proverbs. And for you business guys in here that are in the marketplace right now, I will tell you right now, you cannot buy a better sales training manual, a better how to sell, a better how to survive in the marketplace than the 22nd chapter of Proverbs. Every tenet that you need to hold and use in your life is in that book. And I could run through it, but I'm not. I'm going to use one phrase out of it, one verse, and it's going to be the text or the basics of what I'm going to teach to you today, or try to share with you, not teach. But it's Proverbs 22:29, and it says this: do you see a man skilled in his work? And this is key. He will stand in the presence of kings. He will not stand in the presence of the unknown. Now, as kingdom workers, if we're all in Christ and we're all working for the same kingdom, you have to understand your greatest opportunities come in the presence of kings. Now, a lot of folks say, well, we don't have kings. We live in the United States of America. We have governors, presidents, senators, and Republicans. I dare say it's a much different economy than what you think. We live in a world of kings. There are kings of business, and there are kings in various organizations that have all of the influence there is. Okay? As businessmen that are trying to gain a position and gain favor with people, the most favor comes when you speak to the king of the organization, the president of the bank, the owner of Robertson Tire, the owner of the businesses that you seek to gain favor with. You can talk to everyone from the receptionist, and you have to, by the way, from the receptionist or whomever you greet you at the door, through the shop, the backyard, and everything around the business. But until you meet the king, you're just setting up the meeting. And so today what I'm here to share with you is how to assess the market, how to find the path to that king, and how to make a change for the kingdom of God.
Amen.
Because one of the things that I want to tell you is this. Some folks are, I'm not a preacher full time, I'm a pastor. I'm not a good preacher, but I do sales training, and I know this. We all have one common denominator that we need to function in the society that we live in, and it's money. We have to earn an income to buy food, to pay for our house, and do other things. But you see, the one thing that we can't miss on is this. You can't give from an empty sack. You can't give from an empty billfold. To give away what the Lord has given you, you have to earn excess. Excess is what puts hospitals together. Excess puts doctors' clinics together. Excess fixes children's teeth. It helps children in Africa. It helps children in your neighborhood. You cannot give from an empty bag. And so today I'm going to talk to you about that, and I want you to understand I am not against prosperity.
Nope.
My father owns the cattle on 1,000 Hills. That's a lot of cattle, guys. And until I got in this cattle business, a little side note here, I used to drive by these pastures and there'd be 300, 400, 500 mama cows out there walking around. And I think, well, how about that? He's got a lot of cows. Until I figured out what they were worth. Now I'm like, this guy's got it made. He's got 500 cows. They're worth a couple $1,000s a piece. He's got $1 million worth of livestock walking around there. Here I am fighting a deal trying to make $1,000. So the point of that is this. Your daddy owns the cattle on 1,000 Hills. That's excess. Because to give, you must have more than you need. The Lord says, I'll meet every need that you have. Every need. But then the difference comes into the business arena is this. Are you willing, as a kingdom-driven person, to take the steps necessary to go further? I've read a book over and over in my career. It's called The World's Greatest Salesman by Og Mandino. Fantastic book. Some of you are shaking your heads. I'm assuming you've read it. One of the tenets that he taught in that book was this. Your labor doesn't start at sunset or sunrise, and it doesn't necessarily end at sunset. And one of the things that I've come to see in the marketplace is many people feel like they have a certain time slot or whatever it is that they want to call, that they want to start and stop at. Past that, it's their time. Well, I say you've been bought with a price. And if you've been bought with a price, then you have an obligation to help your brothers. And if you are good in the marketplace, at whatever you do, you have the greatest chance to help. Okay? So, standing in the presence of kings, and forgive me if I'm redundant, but I get excited and sometimes I like to say something twice. So anyway, to move in the direction you're supposed to move, you must know the hour. Mm-hmm. Now in the marketplace, as I said earlier, it evolves constantly. And in the book of 1 Chronicles chapter 12, many of you may be familiar with it, it's when warriors are being gathered for David. Okay? And in the 32nd I jumped ahead here. I want to identify something in the marketplace that I'm seeing right now as a trainer of salespeople and working with major corporations. I deal with the mega fleets in the United States and Canada. That's where they send me to go try to make a deal or do a deal. And I'm seeing a dynamic in the marketplace I've not seen thus far in my career of 33 years, and it's this. We have three kinds of buyers in the market today. And I'm going to identify those buyers or committees, not necessarily by what they do, but by how old they are. Okay? First group we have is the millennials. Incredible group of people. Man, I don't think like they think. I mean, a lot of you in here with gray hair are probably thinking, boy, I don't either. But here's what I'm seeing. The millennials are in the marketplace now. And in case you don't know it, they're starting to have a very strong influence. And they don't think like this gray hair guy thinks. So for me to be in the marketplace, I have to learn to adjust. Now the next group that's in the marketplace are the Generation X folks. They're between the millennials and my group. They have become very strong. They don't think like a millennial, and they don't think like what I am, a baby boomer. And so you have to deal with them differently. And then there's my group, the baby boomers. And the greatest generation, which was the one before mine, for the most part are out of the marketplace now. For the most part, there are still some there. They are a special group to deal with, and they are my favorites to deal with. And there are still some out there, and are very active in the business place. But the Generation X guys are my age. They're past 55, 52, clear up to nearly 70. They're coming out of the marketplace. They're retiring. Some of them are retiring. A lot of them are having to stay in. But the whole thing about them is this. I do know how they think. And it's easy for me to deal with them. I can establish rapport in moments. And it's easy. But I know this. The Word has shown me the three identifiers for these groups. And I want to talk about them just for a second with you because I want to read you 3 verses. This comes out of the 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 12. And this is when David was gathering up his people, his warriors. These were the men who came to David at Ziklag. While he was banished from the presence of Saul, son of Kish, they were among the warriors who helped him in battle. They were armed with bows and were able to shoot arrows or to sling stones, and here's the key, either right or left-handed. In other words, their skill set was so different than David's, they could accurately defend or attack with either hand. They're the millennials. Have any of you with gray hair in here, or not so gray hair, ever looked at your oldest grandson or your youngest child and said, I can't get this phone to work? And they go, give it here, Dad, I'll fix it. It'll take me about 2 seconds. That's right and left-handed skill. They can operate on things I look at and go, I want to use this thing, but I got no clue how to make it work, but I want it. That's a millennial. That's a right and left-handed warrior. And that right and left-handed warrior in the marketplace right now is making a huge impact on how they do business. If you think that they're only going to think about a deal one way, you lose. They're going to think about a deal 20 ways. Okay? You have to, as a kingdom-minded person, be willing to listen, to be willing to accept new ideas, and be willing to understand what it is they're presenting to you. But they are the millennials, the right-handed and left-handed archers. Now I want to identify the Generation X's. Get this where I can see the number of it. Verse 8, same chapter. Some Gadites defected to David at his stronghold in the wilderness. And they were brave warriors, ready for battle, and able to handle the shield and the spear, and their faces were the faces of a lion. And they were as swift as gazelles in the mountains. That's your Generation X person in the marketplace now. He's that fierce warrior you might have been 15 years ago, or you may have never been, but he's that guy right now that is leading edge in the marketplace. He's changing the way companies think. He's changing the way people do business. He is a fierce warrior. You have no reason to be afraid of him, but you have to understand this. He does not think like the millennial. The millennial will outskill you. The Generation X guy will outfight you. He wants to be tenacious because he's driven by the idea that he can outdo you, which is fine. I like that concept. But nonetheless, so we have two so far. We have a warrior with a face as fierce as a lion, and then we have the millennials, which are skilled, both right and left-handed. And here's the part where I hope I fit, and many of you may fit. But this is the baby boomers. This is verse 14. The Gadites were the army commanders. The least was a match for 100 men, and the greatest for 1,000. It was they who crossed the Jordan in the first month, when it was overflowing all its banks. And they put to flight everyone in the valleys, to the east and to the west. Those are the people now that have the gray hair. And they're in the marketplace. And man, can they make a difference. They fought fights that the millennials and the Generation X's haven't fought yet. They've been there. They've endured the wounds. They've endured the trials. They've endured the defeats. But they also have endured the victories. They can tell you steps not to take. And so one of the things that I'm trying to get my young salesmen that I've got working for me now, and I have several, we all need each other in this kingdom battle. If we're going to be in excess, I need that millennial guy that knows how to run that phone and that computer and that laptop, and he knows how to talk to that other millennial in a language I can't get. I need that Generation X guy that's willing to get on an airplane every Monday morning and fly wherever I send him and not complain and come back with a report, and a good report. But then I need the baby boomers to tell me, Randy, don't send him there. I know you want him to go, but don't send him. I need the wisdom. And so in all what I'm saying to you is this. In the marketplace right now, understand the dynamics of what's happening. Understand cross-pollination in the marketplace is not a bad thing if you're willing to embrace what these three different buyer groups are. Okay? You can prosper. Okay? You can't do business like grandma did it or grandpa did it. You've all heard the story. They always cut the end off the ham every year before they cooked it at Christmas time. Finally, one day, one of the granddaughters said, "Grandma, why do you cut the ham off?" Grandma said, "I don't know. I guess we've always cut it off. That's what we did." Well, great-grandma showed up. "Great-grandma, why do we always cut the ham off of the ham at Christmas time?" She said, "Well, the pot I had was too short back in the day, so I always had to cut them off." Well, okay, we have to adjust, and we have to look at things and say, what was is maybe no longer accurate, and what's coming may be more accurate than anything we've ever done. But we have to know this, but there's one key thing here that we have to do to unlock where you want to go in the market. And I say this most humbly, you can go as far in the marketplace as you're willing to go. You have been well equipped by the Lord to do it. You have been given every victory in advance if you know how to get there. Okay? And so you have to, first of all, identify what's going on. By the way, years ago in sales, I learned this. I don't have an enemy in the marketplace except for myself. I never need to throw dirt on another man's product to sell mine. I just don't have to. What I have to sell is what I have. I don't have to make an excuse for his, nor do I have to put his in the ground to sell mine. I'm going to sell what I sell on the merits that what it is and how it is, and I will make it happen. It will happen because I've been empowered to do it. But I want you to hear, I'm going to give you a key here, another key. Genesis 12:3. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who treat you with contempt. And all the peoples of the earth will be blessed through you. Well, the first time I read that, I just read it. And then I went to Israel, and I learned some more things. And I came back and I studied that out. And I recognized the key to success in the marketplace, to be a king and a priest, is one simple thing. It's alignment. Now, Ted could give us a sermon on alignment that would probably be breathtaking. And I'll give you a short example. Alignment is a good thing for folks that sell tires. It's a very profitable thing. And if you ever had a new set of tires on your car and when they're brand new, you're going down the road and it's that smooth black top and you just, it's awesome. In fact, you may run a little hotter than you need to because it just is so easy. Then, if the tire gets out of alignment, you'll hear a little thump, thump, a little noise. Well, if you don't react to what you're hearing, if you don't react to what's happening, you will begin to ignore that noise, and you will tolerate that noise. And then you will begin to just accept it as normal. In the marketplace, we are required to be aligned. We are required to be aligned with the Lord in heaven. We said a prayer earlier today, Matthew 6:10, and speaks of alignment to me, and speaks of alignment in the most incredible way. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Now, think about that for just a second. On earth as it is in heaven. Do you think anything's out of alignment in heaven? I mean, even one thing. I'll bet when we get there, it is so perfect, so pristine, alignment is not even an issue. So why would the Lord tell us in His prayer, when He told us how to pray, to say, on earth as it is in heaven? It's an alignment issue. Okay? Do you hear that little thump in your life of something that's going on, but you've chosen to ignore it? You've chosen not to get it fixed. You've chosen not to change it out. You make all these choices, but you will get in the car and drive home with a thump, 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 and not think a thing of it. Now, there's probably some horrible stories about what's happened with badly aligned tires. Probably the biggest one is eventual failure, flat tires, buy a new set of tires. At the least appropriate time, I want to buy them. And then I get a call and says, I don't know what this is, but there's a wire coming out of my tire. Well, it's not stuck in the tire, it's coming out of the tire. It's the same thing I see in the marketplace with business people. They've been out of alignment They're not checking their tires. They're not rotating their tires. They're ignoring their tires. All they want to do is get from A to B in the fastest possible way. But alignment's critical. So I go back to the verse I read you a minute ago. I will bless those. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who treat you with contempt. Now, I believe everything on earth, from heaven to earth, has an alignment parallel. I know this, my Messiah is coming back to a place called Jerusalem. He says at his return, for those of you that believe he's coming back, and I do, I've been to the place where he's coming back. Okay? So I ask you this question: if my Messiah is coming back to a place on the other side of the earth, what do I know about it? Really? What do I really know about where he's coming? What do I really know about the culture that he grew up in? What do I really know about what he was taught? Now, we can say a lot of things that are in this book, and I've heard a lot of things said that didn't exactly match up with what I've seen over there. Now, there's nothing wrong with it, but sometimes men get a little zealous in the way they want to preach something. But the fact of the matter is, for proper alignment, the question is this: how well do you know your Abba? How well do you really know your dad? And you say, well, Randy, how is that important in the business world? I can tell you, think about alignment. One tire out of a line for 100 miles changes everything for life, doesn't it, Ted? You can't put that tire back. So if you're meeting up with things that are giving you stress in the marketplace, if you can't crack doors that you think you should be able to crack, if you can't get somewhere to get what you want, if you can't accomplish some feat, and you keep looking in the mirror, you probably have a good start, but I'll ask you this question. Have you asked about your alignment recently? Have you asked yourself about your alignment? What in my life is blocking the gate? Now, I am, and I believe this, we all have issues that we all deal with, but here's the thing I've learned about this. The minute I figure out what the misaligned tire is and get it corrected, things change, and they change almost instantly. I go back to the smooth ride, I go back to blessing, I go back to all the things that the Lord promised me, because, by the way, I'll mention again, my dad owns the cattle along 1,000 Hills. He promised me prosperity. He promised me everything in the kingdom, and he promised me, if you'll put my kingdom first, not yours, not your kingdom, his kingdom, whatever it is he tells you to do. And I want to tell you a story about that, and I'm going to connect everything to the marketplace. We bought a ranch. I didn't like cattle. Actually, I didn't like them at all. I bought a ranch because I wanted to train my bird dogs there. And I bought the ranch, much to Mary's chagrin, while I was in Canada on a business trip. I had a realtor looking for 20 acres. She called me up. She said, hey, I found a place. I said, really, what is it? She said, well, it's 216 acres. I said, really? She told me about it, and I said, let's buy it. So basically, I called Mary and told her what it was. She started crying immediately. And we made an offer on it 3 days later and bought it. But I knew the Lord told me to do it. I didn't get it. I thought I understood it. And so we did that. We bought the ranch. We went through everything. We remodeled the house. We went through a lot of things. And then I got out of the bird dog business. The Lord stopped that. He shut that door in a heartbeat. And I had a fellow come by and say, hey, you want to put some cows out there? So I tried that for a little while. I leased it to him. I didn't like that either. And I thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So I bought some cows, and it wasn't going anywhere. I mean, for those that are in the cattle business, I'm one of these guys, I like to figure a deal out to the penny so I know right where I'm at. I could never get it to work on paper. It flat won't do it. It doesn't make sense. Now, our government helps us with it. Thank you, Lord, for giving the government the idea to let cattle be a deduct. But all that said, you have to shelter income, guys. You can't be afraid of that. Gentleman showed up at my house one day, and I kept thinking, this isn't working. He said, what are you going to do with those cattle? And I said, I think I'll sell them. And he goes, I'll buy them. I'll take them all. So he bought all my cattle that afternoon. Mary got home. I'm out of the cattle business. She's rejoicing. I'm kind of confused about what's happened. And I said, hey, by the way, I heard they're having a Hereford sale down in Skiatook, Oklahoma. Let's go. And this is why I said it. right after the gentleman hauled all my cattle off, I'm standing on one of the high spots on my ranch and I'm looking out through these big valleys. There's nothing in them. And I said, Lord, what do you want me to do here? And he goes, cover it up with Hereford cattle. Made no sense. We went to the sale. We got the Hereford business. Now we sell bulls as fast as we can get them old enough to sell. And the Lord has prospered in a great way. We're so thankful for it. But I'll tell you this, it was because we listened. I listened, and Mary listened. There was an alignment issue with what we were doing. I changed the tire. I put on a different set of tires. They were called Herefords. And it's been incredible since then. So, I'll finish up here. I'll ask you some questions. And I don't want to hear your answers, but you need to think about it. Does what you do align with all the things of God? Everything. From the time you open your eyes in the morning till you go to sleep at night, do you align with the kingdom of God? If you don't align all day, you need to address the alignment issue. Because prosperity will come when the alignment is perfect. Okay? The alignment of heaven to earth is attainable, but it is very difficult. Can you fall from it? I fall on a daily, hourly basis, but I know this, Lord, show me the way, because I'm going to get back up. I'm going to get back in line with you, and we're going to move forward in this marketplace.
Amen.
Third, are you really kingdom-minded? And if you're really kingdom-minded, what kingdom? A lot of men say they're kingdom-minded, and they tithe on the net. I'm not judging that. What is your kingdom mindset? Are you really kingdom-minded, and is it your kingdom and His? Or is it His kingdom? Because when the alignment truly becomes His kingdom, everything changes. Okay? There are a lot of questions that you may have that only you can answer, because you know the source of the problem, or the source of the misalignment. But I can tell you this, when you align with the kingdom, you have to align with the things of the king. The things of the king include all of Israel. They include all the things from the calendar that was mentioned, that Lauren mentioned. They include all the steps that are necessary for us to take to be prosperity-minded and also to prosper. Now, I'll finish here. Do you see a man skilled in his work? Are you skilled? He will stand in the presence of kings. Sometimes, all of you may have had this chance, you stand in the presence of one man or one individual that make a difference in your business for the rest of your life. His yes or no is the answer you're looking for. And by the way, never be afraid to hear the answer no. The most terrifying word in the marketplace is let me think about it, I'll get back with you, or maybe. No is very easy to deal with. You just have to have the courage to go, why? Okay? Identify the situation and deal with it. Those gray words, word says black or white. And I'll remind you of this, James also says this, do not be double-minded. Go in with a purpose, with a focus, and accomplish the mission you've been sent to do. Understand who your market is and what they are, and go after them. And you will stand in the presence of kings. You'll all get the chance. It'll come.